Hello, I'm Dr. E. Barry Gordon. This video has been divided into two parts because of YouTube length limitations. The intact video can be seen on my website, www.thehiddendisease.com. Hello, I'm Dr. E. Barry Gordon, and this is the 13th video in my series on testosterone deficiency. Can you imagine if a new disease appeared, a highly contagious virus, for example, that got into our bones and relentlessly ate them away, like termites in wood, until they became so weakened that our spinal bones simply collapsed, causing great pain, making us shrink or become grotesquely disfigured? Or our ribs became so fragile that a hug or a cough or a sneeze made them break? Or our hips became so delicate that they broke from a slight bump and required surgery to fix them? What a ghastly horror. Yet this is an accurate description of osteoporosis, the subject of this video and the next. Women's bones literally corrode, disintegrate, like rotting wood. The fractures and deformities that come from this disease cause an enormous amount of pain and debility and death. And it's all the direct result of the loss of testosterone. The bone destruction is reversed by simply replacing the missing hormone. As is the case with many diseases and conditions, my task here is to first rid your minds of the fiction of osteoporosis and then explain the reality. There's a lot to absorb and think about in this video, so you might benefit by watching it more than once. Osteoporosis has been one of the most popular diseases discussed in the print and broadcast media. It's been actively promoted into the minds of American women by a continuing stream of advertisements and advice to get your bone density and take your calcium and vitamin D. I've been bewildered and angered about this modern image of osteoporosis ever since the disease was given a false identity several decades ago. As unbelievable as it sounds, the fact is that a fictional concept of osteoporosis has been regularly fed to the American public, and is commonly the case with anything having to do with testosterone. The medical community, to its shame, has gone along with it, pretending that the disease is something other than it is. The falsehoods, half-truths, and inherent absurdities would be comical if the situation wasn't so tragic. You'll understand what I'm talking about after you know something about basic bone structure and physiology and what osteoporosis does to bone tissue. Fundamentally, bones are made of a protein honeycomb to which complex calcium crystals are attached. It is critical to understand that unattached calcium crystals do not remain in the bones. An excellent analogy would be sheetrock or plasterboard, that's the calcium, nailed to wooden wall studs, the protein honeycomb. For the purposes of this discussion, there are two kinds of cells in bones that affect its structure and strength. Osteoblasts, which make the protein honeycomb and then attach the calcium crystals, and osteoclasts, which destroy it. They eat up the protein honeycomb. Calcium that was attached to the honeycomb destroyed by the osteoclasts is washed away and ultimately eliminated by the kidneys. Under healthy conditions, bone is always in a state of remodeling. Osteoclasts destroying, osteoblasts rebuilding. As our weight and body shape change with growth and age, our bones are subject to changing physical stresses, and this remodeling is nature's way of maintaining the strongest possible bone shape. Normally, as much as 10% of our bone tissue is destroyed and remade every year. Now here's the key. The osteoblasts that make the protein honeycomb are stimulated to work by testosterone. That's obvious from the testosterone-induced bone growth spurt at puberty. The destructive osteoclasts are not affected by testosterone. So you can see how the disease osteoporosis works. As the body becomes depleted in testosterone, the osteoblasts gradually slow down their rebuilding. The protein honeycomb gets progressively eaten away by the osteoclasts, the calcium washes out, and you have ever more weakened and fragile bones, osteoporosis. In our analogy, you can picture rot or termites eating away the wood studs in your walls until the plasterboard nails become so loose that the plasterboard simply falls off. Understand this clearly. It's basic physiology. The loss of calcium from bones is the result of the underlying cause of osteoporosis. Taking calcium supplements without stimulating osteoblasts does nothing for the disease. Calcium does not stay in bone unless osteoblasts attach it to the protein honeycomb. In a room with rotted or termite-infested wall studs, it would do no good to bring more plasterboard into the room unless there was a carpenter putting up new studs. All I have said is so basic that it's irrefutable. Every doctor who went to medical school knows this. It's been in the textbooks for more than a half a century, but still, women are routinely told to waste their time and money by taking calcium pills. Now, it so happens that there is a disease that fits the popular concept of osteoporosis perfectly. It's called osteomalacia. Osteomalacia is a disease caused by insufficient calcium in the bones because of vitamin D problems, and taking vitamin D and calcium supplements cures it. There'll be more on this later. To repeat what I said earlier, it's my sense that because of the intimate relationship between osteoporosis and testosterone, some decades ago, the medical establishment decided to go along with the pretense that osteoporosis was osteomalacia, in effect ignoring the real pathology of the disease and running an ongoing scam on American women.